chance to watch the scrimmage?
More of the same, inconsistent. Obviously, the explosive plays are the thing that continue to jump out. We've got to work on that and get it solved. Got another scrimmage coming up, so it's very important in that scrimmage that we slow that down. That kind of exposure just doesn't work on defense, as all of you know.
Let's kind of talk about the play of the linebackers. What have you seen out of them from, I guess, scrimmage 1 to 2?
More problems in that position. Middle linebacker having to take on a lot in respects to communication, and then getting our defense lined up. So more of the same problems, I would say. I think the overall execution, for the most part, was slightly better by the defense, but still a lot of work to do.
You talk about the move of switching sides with Justin and Chris Frost.
Again, the linebacker position, as we've stated, is really wide open. Johnny was making some strides, like his personality on the field and the way he's running to the ball. So we just wanted to get it positioned where we felt like it was competitive and gave John a better chance to compete for a starting job. He was in behind Darren, who has the most experience, so we put him in a position where he can compete with Justin and see where that goes.
Feel like that's pretty much a too close to call kind of thing?
It is right now. Yeah, it is right now. So I see that situation as being competitive, maybe throughout the season. So the more productive and dependable you are, better chance you have of playing time, and that's kind of how it'll work right now.
How much do you like to rotate linebackers in a best case scenario?
It's never been a huge part of my philosophy. Having said that, it depends on the style of offense that you might be playing and how much what we call cover down work an outside linebacker specifically might be getting on a wide receiver out in space and those kinds of things. But generally speaking, an average game, not a lot of that takes place at the linebacker position. Again, I would looking forward, I would see that happening a little bit, because we've got to find out from these guys who's going to be productive and who's not. And unfortunately, you cannot, until September 1st, we can't simulate that kind of speed and pressure of a game. And so we've got to see a lot of these guys in that arena.
Frost, is he now just behind Bates, or is he kind of looking at both sides a little bit?
Well, he's behind Bates right now, but in our system, we'd like the outside linebackers to cross-train. They're very similar. Outside of what we call a tight front, they're similar positions. So they're not ready to do that right now, but we want to get them to a point where they gain a comfort level where a Will can play Sam and a Sam can play Will.
Coach Chiswick said that a freshman can start anywhere on the field right away. With what you've seen out of Castone McKenzie, is he a guy that has that kind of potential to come in and, if not start, have serious playing time right after that?
Well, I mean, he was recruited here, and the physical traits were obvious. Again, the disadvantage is that he's such a young player coming into a new system and then competing against the speed of the game and all. So most of the time, it's my feeling those guys. Again, I always talk about that process, how quickly he can gain knowledge of an entire new language, and responsibility in the defense is really, really key. So a lot of times that's 4 or 5 games into the season because of all of that. The physical trait is there. You're not seeing it all the time, again, because of the mental part of the game at this time. So we've just got to see where that goes. But the physical trait of that player is obvious.
When you were back at Georgia, you in collegiate ranks, did you ever have freshman linebackers step in that type of position in the past that you've worked with?
I think Tony Taylor was the only one I had at Georgia. So he was able to do it. So again, it's possible. but it is difficult. It's a difficult challenge for a young player coming in.
Brian, where does Landry kind of fit into this?
Learning, long process for him. And again, the realism is that young players, they wanna come in and they wanna play right away. They want to start right away, and then there's nothing wrong with that. But each guy, again, carries a different ability to learn and then become productive and handle the speed of the game. And so, a young man that comes in, if he ends up being a 2-year starter at Auburn, all right, that's a respectable career. But it's hard for young players to kind of see that. And so if they get frustrated with it, again, they kind of compromise the process of learning and developing, and that's what we're encouraging our young players to do. And Chris is, he's just in that learning process and has to stay with it, keep working to gain some kind of comfort with it all.
Can you talk about the front four, how the competition is going up there with those guys?
Well, it's competitive. Our D-tackle situation right now is very competitive. I think I've stated that D Ford and Corey are pretty solid at the defensive ends, but who 3 and 4 are is still very competitive. And when you talk about substituting during the game, that's the area that carries major concern right now. So not just starting tackles, but who will be involved in rotations there, and rotation at the defensive end is still it's competitive every day.
But those guys, do you expect how much better do you expect the pass rush to be from what you saw from film or whatever?
Still a lot of work to do there. Again, I think we've got 2 defensive ends that have some solid pass rush trait, and then after that, it's all developmental and questionable right now.
How big a part is that? Your philosophy is that just to be aggressive, to rattle the quarterback even if you're.
Oh, I don't think you can in today's defense. If you can't affect the quarterback, then you don't have much of a chance against the passing game. So I think we all realize that.
Anything else?
Appreciate it.
All